What do you get when you combine Gin Saga with Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit? You get... Greetings to you all. Black Critic Guy Sama here to review the anime Yona of the Dawn. Now, Yona of the Dawn obviously tells the story of Yona, a young, naive, and spoiled princess of the Coca Kingdom who was living the lap of luxury. Not a single care in the world. Everything was going so great for her. That is until her life gets turned upside down after she witnesses the death of her father, the king, at the hands of her childhood friend slash love interest, Suwon, and she is forced to flee her home with the help of her other childhood friend and bodyguard, Hawk. Now on the run from the law and later presumed dead, Yona and Hawk embark on a journey to find and unite the 4 dragons of legend in order to take down Suwon and bring peace and order back to her kingdom. Now, though many of you, and I do mean many of you, voted for this to be the first anime I review in November, I was first asked to see this anime from one of my most loyal subscribers, Maya Smith. And after watching the entirety of this anime, I have to say that for the most part, I really enjoyed it. So what, you may ask, is there to enjoy in Yona of the Dawn? Well, first off, and of course the most obvious, it's animation done by Studio Pierrot, the same people who did the animation for Naruto, Beelzebub, Bleach, and Tokyo Ghoul. It is fantastic and it looks freaking gorgeous. Most, if not all, the backgrounds used, from the stars in the sky to the trees of the forest, the look of the various cities, the ocean, to even characters walking in the desert with the wind blowing in their faces, it all looks drop dead gorgeous. The character designs are solid, with each character having their own distinct look to them, and the animation is very fluid, especially during some of the more cooler action sequences. And for mainly a shoujo anime, I was quite impressed at how well they handled all of their action sequences. They were fun and exhilarating to watch. Especially fights where Hawk is involved. This character fights with so much grace and ferocity that he actually made me want to learn how to fight using a spear. No joke. The voice acting on the Japanese side was solid. Everyone did a really good job in their performances, conveying so much emotion through their voices and doing a good job at bringing their characters to life. Especially the girl who voices Yona, the guy who voices Hawk, and the girl that voices Yun, the Bishonen character of the anime. I had no idea that the person giving the voice to this character was a girl. It sounded like a young guy. And for you English dub fans out there, there is kind of an English dub available for this anime, but only for the second half, not the first half, which I kind of find bizarre. Why would you dub the second half of the anime without doing the first half first? I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, no? Now, I won't deny that the anime's concept and story isn't anything really original. I mean, a story about a character from wealthy means who gets the whole world turned upside down, everything taken away from them, and embarks on a personal journey of growth and development, becoming stronger and wiser in the process, has been done before. Not to mention, they do borrow elements from other shows and animes. I couldn't help but find the story of the anime very entertaining and engaging, especially the journey aspect of the story. For the first time in a very long time, I actually felt like I was embarking on a journey with these characters and seeing all the different places and learning all the different customs and cultures and history of this world. And I love world building like that. But what good is a solid journey story without some fun, likable, interesting, and well-developed characters to follow on this journey? And fortunately, the anime provides that for us. I liked almost every character in this anime. From our main protagonist to the main antagonist, they humanize almost everyone in this anime. Almost. Starting off with the anime's main character, Yona. Not only is she incredibly likable to a fault, I mean, how could you possibly hate this girl besides the fact that she's completely oblivious about the outside world? But I mean, that goes without saying with a character that has grown up kind of protected by her father and not allowed to like leave the castle. So it makes sense why she's like that. But I also just found it really fascinating seeing her grow and develop throughout the entire series. At first, she is this complacent, naive, ditzy girl without a single care in the world. Everything was gift wrapped to her. She was very oblivious about the world around her and she never questioned it. She was perfectly willing to live this sheltered life. That is until everything takes a 180 and everything just crumbles around her. Her father dies, her best friend betrays her, and she's forced to leave the only place that she knew in this world and start anew. That's some heavy shit to deal with, and that all took place in one night. One night, all this happened to her. Starting off as that one-dimensional character to become this fully realized, three-dimensional, strong-willed, persistent, and resilient female character with a badass bow and arrow to boot. Not to mention that fiery red hair of hers that perfectly symbolizes the burning intensity of the character. Not to mention it makes her look pretty damn sexy. Next is Hawk, the general slash leader of the Wind Tribe and Yona's childhood friend and current bodyguard. The guy is freaking awesome. He is my favorite character in the entire anime. In fact, I like this character so much, guys, that for the first time in my life, I'm going to cosplay as an anime character, and I'm going to cosplay as him. That's how much I like this character. Come 2016, you will see the Black Critic Guy cosplay for the very first time as Huck from Yona of the Dawn. You heard it here first. The character has such a great down-to-earth personality that you just can't help but find the guy so likable. He's witty, charming, respectable, devoted. He pokes fun of Yona time and time again. In fact, one of my favorite things about the character was his playful interactions with Yona. They made for some of the more comedic and entertaining parts of the series. And they also share a lot of tender moments, which I found very sweet and adorable. I like their relationship as a whole. But not only is he a very likable character, but a badass one to boot. Like the first time he wields his spear in a fight, holy crap, there's a reason they refer to him as the Lightning Beast. This guy moves so damn quick that you don't even see it coming. And then, to complete the trifecta of the childhood friends, we got the main antagonist of the series, Suwon. Now, I, for one, really liked and appreciated the direction that they took with this character. They don't just make him out to be this one-note generic villain that kills the king because he just wanted the power or some other cliche reason like that. No, this character is far more complex than that. He has a much more deeper psychological reason to kill the king, and the character just has so many layers to him. You get a lot of insight on the character, and they humanize him as a person. They don't just vilify him throughout the entire anime. No, you actually get to kind of see a little bit of how his brain works and some of his more likable sides. He's such a gray area. You don't really know what to think of him because he doesn't really come off as the main antagonist of the series. I mean, if you see him as the guy that killed the king and that's all you see him as, then sure, he's the main antagonist. But if you see him as a guy that was trying to save his kingdom from certain destruction from a cowardly king and did what he needed to do, the line starts to blur a bit. You start to see what he's doing throughout the entire series, the promises that he's making, and you start to see that maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. Maybe there's some sense into his actions. And the great thing about it is that nobody's wrong when making those assessments. It's all based on your perspective on the character. You can see him as the villain, or you can see him as something a bit more than that. And finally, we got the 4 dragons that accompany Yona and Hawk on their journey. 3 of the 4 dragons got a lot of good development. We got to see their backstories, kind of learn about their personalities and behaviors. And I love that each of the 4 dragons are vastly different from one another. They have their own unique personalities and different upbringings. One was treated like a prince. You know, he lived in the lap of luxury and they revered him as a god, and they were awaiting the day that he would finally leave the village. But one of them was treated as like the scum of the earth, a plague upon their tribe and their village, and he was kind of shunned from the entire group. And then we got another one who just didn't want to accept the role that he was given. He did not want to be this so-called dragon. And the last great thing about this anime was its music. It is freaking epic. That is the best way I can describe the music used in this anime, especially the opening theme for episodes 1 through 13. I could not get enough of it. I would listen to that song in repeat time and time and time again. It actually felt like I was going on a journey just listening to the song itself. It is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most epic scores I've heard in an anime in quite some time. But as much as I really like this anime, I do have a couple issues with it that bogs it down. One of the biggest ones being is that the entirety of the anime feels like all this build-up with no real payoff or resolution. Like it's just building up to something really epic and really awesome, and then the anime just ends. Like that, just poof, done. All of that build-up leading to nowhere. Nowhere! And don't even get me started on the last episode to this anime. Incredibly underwhelming! And a spit in the face to everyone who was watching the anime up to this point. I mean, seriously, all of this build-up, all of this journeying, all of this time spent on trying to collect all the 4 dragons to end on such a sour note to where there's no real resolution to the story or not even some type of epic throwdown with all of the 4 dragons united under Yona and freaking the lightning beast. Nothing to show for it. And to add insult to injury, they even gypped development for the 4th and final dragon. He just shows up in the episode. He's like, oh, I'm here now. It's like, how'd you get here? I'm a traveler, that's why. You don't really learn much about the character. All the other characters got development. All of them got like at least 3 episodes dedicated to them to where we can learn about them. This guy only gets 1 episode, not even an entire episode. He gets bits and pieces here and there, and he remains an enigma. And before any of you say it, yes, I am fully aware that the story does continue in the manga and that the manga is still ongoing at its current state right now. But this is not the manga review. This is the review for the anime adaptation of the manga. And the way they end the anime adaptation for the manga isn't good. It's lackluster. It leaves more to the imagination, and you need to accept that. And tying in with the whole all build-up and no payoff motif, there are many story elements that are presented in the anime that get no resolution or further explanation given to them. One of the biggest ones that I wanted them to delve more into was King Il and why he was chosen to be the king. Now granted, there are many hints as to why he was chosen. You can make your own assessment there, or you could just read the manga and find out. But it's never really clear why he himself was chosen, because he had an older brother before him that was supposed to be in line to be the next king, but their father chose King Il to replace him, not his older brother. Why is that? Like seriously, throughout the entire anime you hear about how bad King Il is and how he was a cowardly king and all that good shit, but why? Why did he behave the way he did, and why was he chosen to lead this country if he's such a soft ass? He had no backbone, he had no courage as a king, and he wasn't willing to make the hard choices. So again, I must ask, why was he chosen? And finally, there were a couple story arcs, particularly in the second half of the anime, that I felt like weren't all that necessary to the story or went on for way too long, detracting from some much needed time and development for some other characters. The one that I felt like wasn't all that necessary was the side story dealing with King Suwon going to the Earth Tribe and putting on a festival for them. I get what these 2 episodes were trying to do. They were showing off King Suwon's prowess as a leader and as a king, and kind of giving us some hints as to what his master plan will be. I know that this story does tie in to the overall grand scheme of the main story, but for what was presented here in this first season, it kind of just felt like toss away episodes. Yes, it does tie in to what the main story will be, but since this anime is not guaranteed a second season, it just doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of this season. It just feels kind of unnecessary, especially when you won't get the answers in the anime. And the one that I felt went on for way too long and overstayed its welcome was this story arc dealing with the Green Dragon and these pirates facing off against this cliche bad guy who's terrorizing this port city called Awa and doing like human trafficking, drug trafficking. His gang of thugs terrorize the city. Any type of cliche evil activity you could think of, this guy probably did. We spent way too much time in this city, almost 5 to 6 episodes worth, and I didn't understand why this story needed so much time and focus given to it when there were like other great stories that could have been explored and other characters that could have got development had this story been trimmed down a little bit. I promise you, if this story was 3 to 4 episodes long, we would have had more time to get to know the Yellow Dragon a little bit better instead of giving him just 1 episode at the very end. Overall, while this anime does have a couple faults with it that do bog it down, I still ended up enjoying Yona of the Dawn. It's a fun anime with some awesome action sequences, likable, relatable, and well-developed characters, and just a really great journey. And that's why I'm going to give this anime a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think that it is an enjoyable anime, and if you like journey animes, give this one a watch. But anyway, what did you guys think of this anime? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or did you find it really boring and dull and you really couldn't get into it? And let me know, what is your favorite journey anime? An anime that's focused on these characters going on a journey. Comment below, let me know. Stay tuned, I have a couple reviews coming your way, like 007 Spectre and the Peanuts movie. So until those videos come, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, the Black Dragon known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.